Hi friends, welcome back to playing tribute to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. We are on Case 5, the bonus case, Rise from the Ashes, and we're on the second part of the trial of Day 2, which means it is the third part of the case overall. This is interesting because all of the game up to this point has had an investigation part, and a trial part, an investigation part, trial part, investigation, trial. But this one had investigation, trial so far, and perhaps will in the end as well. We'll see. But it's interesting because the later games actually have something similar to that. They have two trial moments, which I guess is more realistic, that the trial actually, takes a while. It's not just like one and done kind of deal. You talk to multiple witnesses, hear multiple testimonies. So, speaking of multiple witnesses, were we promised another witness today? Because I think that Angel Star has been, I think we've taken care of her, testimony-wise. Well, like I said before, these parts are really long. They're over an hour, so I should probably just jump into it. Let's hope for better luck this time. Think positive. Don't be thrown. Mr. Wright? Huh? What? Are trials always like this with you? Like, you're swimming up from the bottom of a lake about to reach the surface, but no matter how hard you paddle, you never seem to get there? Pretty much. Except today we're swimming in quicksand. So what happened to your sister, anyway? Apparently she got called off to the judge's chambers. Probably something to do with that piece of cloth. So, this is where we turn this trial around, right? Our only weapon, a tiny, insignificant piece of cloth. I'm the one who's starting to feel tiny and insignificant, to tell the truth. Hola, partner. They say you show a red cloth to a bull, it'll fire up its temper. That's what they told me when I was a young'un, at least. Officer Marshall! Thought I'd come take a look-see and how the trials go. Looks like I'm late. They've got the place locked down tighter than a fort in enemy territory. What is going on over there, anyway? All the police I've seen these last 2 days have been really on edge. Don't you got enough on your plate without worrying about other people, compadre? You could be worrying about the chief prosecutor's taste in mufflers, for example. Officer Marshall? The whole muffler thing didn't have anything to do with scarves. She wasn't even wearing a scarf. You don't say. Now don't that just beat all. I've seen the red breeze blow at her slender neck many a time. I saw it that day too. She was wearing a red muffler. What? At the awards ceremony that afternoon, Edgeworth's seen it too, I'd reckon. What does that mean? In the photograph taken at the scene, she wasn't wearing a scarf. So, Miss Starr wasn't mistaken. Well, it's about time. Remember, partner, sometimes you gotta grab the bull by the horns. And sometimes you just gotta let that bull go where it will. Time will tell. Ugh, I have a bad feeling about this. So, what are we swimming in now, Mr. Wright? If it's steak sauce, I can hook you up with some fine ribs. Ooh-wee. Thanks, dude. I'd like to resume. What's up? The judge keeps looking over at the prosecution. Ah! Is something wrong, Mr. Edgeworth? Your face is blue, your lips are purple, you're sweating bullets. That furrowed brow, those grinding teeth, those watery eyes. What's more, your eyes are unfocused. You're doubled over. Your back is bent. It can't be. This can't happen. I wonder what happened to Mr. Edgeworth. Indeed. Well then, I believe it is time we continue on with this trial. During our recess, I had requested that the prosecution conduct an investigation. This is unacceptable. Seems the prosecutor is quite beside himself. Excuse me, knock knock. Who's there? Oh. I didn't know who was talking again. What's with this guy? A strange, stuffy aura seems to be filling the courtroom. Hey, the temperature rose 5.7 degrees when that man came in. Who on earth is he? It's you! He hasn't said a word since the first bit. He's just standing there, blinking. What is he? Oh! Sorry I'm late, Aji. The roads were packed, it's just me. Long time no see, eh, Aji? How you been? Swim much these days? Hello. No, I've been so busy. Busy, Smizzy, Aji, my boy. You have to make time to relax. Yes, indeed. Aji seems to be his nickname for the judge? I'm afraid you're right. Very afraid. Sorry, but who are you? Ah, so you're Righto, the attorney. I've heard good things about you, son. Thanks. So sorry about our little Worthy giving you that trouble, eh? You know we should all go swimming together sometime. Jolly! Little Worthy? Mr. Wright, you don't know the district chief of police? Chief of police? He's the top-ranking police officer in the entire district. Name's Gant. Damon Gant. Pleased to meet you, everyone. So, to what do we owe this honor today? It's been over 2 years since you last came to this courtroom, hasn't it? Well, it's Worthy here. Look at the poor fellow. I just thought I'd help out by bringing this. Hey, that's my sister's muffler. So Miss Starr wasn't just seeing things. When the crime occurred, Miss Skye really was wearing that muffler. But to think that it was stuffed into that exhaust pipe. On little Worthy's car, no less. It's really quite embarrassing, even for us. What's this? It's what you call a switchblade knife. Quite perplexing, this. Objection! Chief, what kind of outfit are you running? Mr. Edgeworth? How could they miss such a vital piece of evidence? If your investigators are this lax, how do you expect us to do our job? Now, wait a minute, Worthy. I've no desire to hear your excuses. I'm telling you to wait. Or didn't you hear me? Have a look at this document, where it says person in charge of investigation. There's no mistaking the signature. Miles Edgeworth. That's no fair. The day of the crime, I had... Your head in the clouds because you got that award. I know how you feel. But you're the person in charge. I expect a written apology. What? Are you serious? Don't be too upset. We'll find a way to clean up this mess that you made. This is the first time I've seen Mr. Edgeworth at a loss for words. Interesting. This kind of major blunder is unlike you, Mr. Edgeworth. Gah. The court accepts this new evidence. But I'd like to ask the defense a favor first. Yes? Just to be sure. I'd like to take a look at the blade of this knife. The blade, Your Honor? Well, I don't see why not. Could you open it for me, I wonder? Yes, well, I think all you have to do is push that switch and... If I cut my finger, Mr. Wright, I wouldn't be able to pound my gavel anymore. Yeah, but if I cut my finger, I wouldn't be able to point it at people anymore. Come on, just hurry up and open it. It's doing it again. I'm not clicking any of this. Alright, there we go. Is this like an evidence tag or something? What's going on here? There's a small tag on this knife. It seems to say SL9-2. What does that mean? Well, I've heard something similar. DL6 of DL6 incident fame. But that's strange. Huh, what is? I'm not certain, but I get the feeling I've seen this somewhere before. Letters like this, or letters that looked a lot like this somehow? Yeah, that's another thing that I remember from this case. Oh, I want to press the button. Let me press the button. So I do know that. Wow, don't scare me like that! I'm the one who's scared! Look at this knife blade. The tip's broken off. And this dark red stain. Blood? Wow, that just cut off. This does not excuse the actions of the police department. I would like to hear an explanation from the chief of police himself. I'm terribly sorry, but could I ask you to testify for us about the split between prosecutors and police and this knife? Sure thing. Not a problem. Not even a little one. Really. Yeah. This knife is special, but I can't say how here. Unless there's evidence to prove a connection between this knife and Goodman. That was a bad day for the department. We weren't in any shape to do an investigation. A detective was killed at the police department, see? What a mess. The time of the crime, 5:15. Scary coincidence, eh? It's not officially linked to this here case, so I can't talk much about it. There was a murder at the police department? A detective? That's hush-hush information, Udgy. We haven't exactly announced it yet. Wait a second. You said 5:15. That's the exact time that Detective Goodman was killed in the prosecutor's office. Order. Anyway, we are at a department you are all flustered, as you might well assume. We're in the middle of a top secret investigation. Don't tell anyone, okay? I think we understand the police department's situation. Well, Mr. Wright, 2 detectives killed at the same time in 2 different places? The chances of that are really slim, scientifically speaking, of course. I'd like to exercise my right to cross-examine the witness. Very well. However, keep your questions focused on the case at hand. Okay, I think I actually know how to link the knife to Goodman. But before I do, let's press some things. Something didn't happen at the police department too, did it? You got a good look in your eyes there, Righto, my boy. Sharp, hungry. Chief, did something happen? And why haven't I heard? Why haven't you heard? Or why didn't you ask? He's like got it out for him, oh my goodness. No matter, I understand. You were busy, what with Lana's case and all. Wait. Is that what Meekins was bringing him? Was Meekins bringing him a report on the other murder? Then we couldn't really fault. Then we could fault Edgeworth for not paying any attention. Oh man, I bet it was. On the same day that a detective was killed in the prosecutor's parking lot, another detective was killed at the police department? That's a fact! Surprising, isn't it, Udgy? I'm at a loss for words. And the perpetrator? Do you have a suspect? Well, there was a suspect. Just arrested him, in fact. Just arrested. That was quick. But there's still a lot of unanswered questions. Maybe you could help, right? I suppose I could help, if you help me by giving the data on your case. Oh, good one, this kid's sharp. Okay, here's the deal. I'll tell you one thing and one thing only. Well, we know when the victim died. He died at 5:15. We know he's found in the police. Let's ask how he was killed. Well, how was the detective killed? How was he killed? Now that's the interesting part. It was what we in the force call a stabbing with a knife. A knife? That's exactly the same as Detective Goodman. That's the spirit we're cooking now! But you know, that's not the only thing that was exactly the same. What do you mean? There were more similarities between the two cases than the cause of death. Seems like I'm going to have to press this a bit harder. So, should we just go through this again? So much for one question and one question only. Where was he found? So tell me, where was the victim found? Well, I can't speak on where the corpse was found. But I can say the crime took place in the evidence room at the police department. You wouldn't know about the evidence room, would you, Wright-o? I can't say I've heard of it. I guess I should ask again once I learn a bit more about the evidence room. Something strange. Okay. So, we'll press in it later. 5:15. But that's when Detective Goodman was killed in the prosecutor's office. What? Funny, isn't it? A murder at the prosecutor's place and a murder at our place the very same time. What are the chances? Coincidence? This is just my gut feeling, but I'd say there's a 0.001% chance of that happening. Chief Gant, please tell us more about the incident. How can you say there's no connection? How? Because I'm the chief of police. I can't just say anything I please, Wright-o. You understand. Try to understand, Wright-o. Well, if you can prove there's a connection, more power to you. Maybe there's something that ties the two murders together. Whatever it is, I'd better find it and get to the bottom of this. 2 detectives were killed at 5:15, one at the prosecutor's office and one at the police department. It can't be a coincidence. And that knife! What was it doing there? I better check this knife out. Okay. Let's do it. Before I do, let me make sure that I don't have to check it again, even though I've already seen it. Small tag. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, that's all I needed. I needed SL9. Wait a second. Ah, at last, an honest-to-goodness objection! This knife, this has to have something to do with Detective Goodman. What do you mean? Ah, ha, ha. An honest-to-goodness, what do you mean from the judge? This is great! Look at the tag on this knife. It reads SL9 too. And this is important. Why? Over here, we also have a memo that was on the body of the victim. What's this? 6 minus 7 S12 2. Your Honor, it's upside down. The printed name on this memo makes it look like it's right side up. But turn it around and what do you get? Aha! When he wrote this note, he was holding the paper upside down. SL9. That's the same thing that is written on the knife's tag. Yeah, that's the part I did remember from this. Now I'm at a complete loss of everything else. Probably. Who knows what'll come back to me. I don't know. Order, order. Well, Chief? Ah, well. I guess the cat's out of the bag. You win, Wright-o. I win? What game is this guy playing? This knife was evidence in a case. It was stolen from the department's evidence room. So this knife was stolen. Yes, but on the day of the murder. It was evidence, you say. Was it, in fact, a murder weapon? Nice, nice, nice! Good show, little worthy. It was a murder weapon, as it happens. It was evidence from a case long since solved. So this knife was stolen on the day of the murder, and was found in the exhaust pipe of Edgeworth's car. Hard to think there isn't a connection there. I guess that's where I press for evidence room information. Where the victim was found. Well, I can't speak on where the corpse was found, but I can say the crime took place in the evidence room of the police department. The evidence room? Wait a second. I've heard of that. The evidence room? Didn't he mention that in his testimony just now? There's the connection between the two cases. You seem happy, Mr. Wright. Happy? We just got handed our ticket to go to town on this case. With the link between the two cases established, we finally have some leverage. Now we can get Gant to testify about the details. So I can't talk much about it. It is, though. We just established it was. Do I need to present something? What am I doing here? Chief, the defense's position is simply this. The connection between these two cases has already been proven. You don't say. Well, out with it, Wright. What's your connection? Yes, out with it, Mr. Wright. The connection is a place mentioned in the testimony we just heard. The knife found in the lot was stolen from the police department's evidence room. Not to mention, the victim had written down the numbers on the knife's evidence tag. And we also know that the detective murdered at the police department was killed in the very same evidence room. Indeed. There do seem to be too many connections for it to be coincidence. You two make a good pair. It took my men 2 days to find out what you deduced right here. Chief, I request that you release your information on the victim at the police department. See, that's the tricky part. It hasn't been announced yet and all. Can we get the information? Unofficially? Sure, why not? It's unofficial after all. What, really? I think he likes me. Who would have guessed? I'll cooperate, but I can't reveal the name of the victim of the department, okay? Alright, please. Stop making me press for this information. Just say what it is. Ah, well, case information is sticky stuff. You have to do everything properly. Oh, well, I guess I might as well try to get what I can out of him. Let's get an ID number, because we know Goodman, so why not? How about you tell me the victim's ID number? Sure, why not? It's not like you'll be able to tell who it is from that. Of course not. You won't tell me their name, after all. We keep a tight lid on ID numbers, so don't go getting your hopes up. The number is 5842189. Well, that's quite long. And we have to remember these. It drives me nuts. 82. I can't do it. You didn't even get the first number right. Well, Mr. Wright, does this tell you anything? I think it might. I don't know. That number sounds really familiar to me. Doesn't it? The ID number of the victim of the police department. 5842189. 5842189. 289. Actually, it does, Your Honor. It does. I think. Meaning? It's impossible. It has to be what I think it is. But what does this mean? Well, let's hear what the defense has to say. You say the ID number of the detective who was murdered at the police department tells you something. What does it tell you?
Take that!
Witness. What is it, Mr. Wright? You're grinning like a schoolgirl on prom night. No, it's just... I got confused. And this is news. Huh? Just come out with both guns blazing, like you always do. Police department, the prosecutor's office. 2 places, 2 detectives murdered at one time. Actually, I happen to have a police ID number here. Oh-ho! Is it yours? No, Your Honor. I'm a defense attorney, remember? This is the ID number of our victim, Detective Goodman. Shame on you, Righto. Personal IDs are top secrets. Detective Goodman's ID number is 5842189. And this means what, exactly? Uh-huh. Wait, that ID number we heard from the chief earlier. That started with 82... I've forgotten. You even got the first number wrong. The number the chief of police gave us was 5842189.
Objection!
Wait a second, Wright. What does this... mean? That's what I want to know. The 2 ID numbers are identical. In other words, the detective killed in the police department's evidence room was Bruce Goodman. What does our witness think about that? Oh, sharp as a tack, Righto, sharp as a tack. But wait, Detective Goodman is our victim. He was killed at 5:15 in the underground parking lot. Yet, Detective Bruce Goodman was also killed at the police department, in the evidence room at the exact same time. That's impossible. So what you're saying is, the same person was killed at the same time, and in a completely different location? Order, order, order! Chief, what does this mean? No. What I want to know is why didn't I hear about this? Yes, it's top secret, fine, but I'm the prosecutor in charge of this case. Now just wait a second, Worthy, no need to get all flustered. It definitely was Meekins. It definitely was Meekins. Your Honor, the police department has made a grave error in this case. Wait. I said wait. Or didn't you hear me? The oversight, the grave error? Mr. Edgeworth, they're yours. What? How dare? We informed you yesterday. I believe it was our Officer Meekins who brought you news. Oh, man. Officer Meekins? Mr. Wright, where have we heard that name before? Wait, aha! You don't mean him. According to Meekins, you didn't accept the report. Hard to believe. But your officer, he told me. He said that the report had nothing to do with Lana Sky incident. Detective Bruce Goodman murdered in the police department evidence room. Mr. Edgeworth, the victim's name is written right on the top of the report. Yeah. Why didn't your officer tell me? Honestly, I'm not sure if that officer was capable of making the connection. He did seem challenged. In any case, this is a serious error, gross negligence of duty on your part, Worthy. Sir! You could have submitted that report this morning to the court as evidence. Then I... No such luck this time, Worthy. Or should I say, unworthy. What? Now, what was the second rule of evidence law, Well, Mr. Wright? Huh? Oh, well, it's, Rule number 2. New evidence may only be submitted if it concerns the case on trial. And how is this relevant? Normally, you submit a list of evidence to be used in a court before the trial. This report wasn't on that list. So, what does this mean? I couldn't submit this evidence until a connection was proven in court. The connection was just proven by Wright over here. Good job, Wright, my boy. I was just doing my job. No. No! I guess it's more like, no! It seems we've come to the end of this trial. You're becoming a thorn in my side, Worthy. There's been rumors. After all, you were the defendant's chair just last year. I apologize for this terrible lack of due diligence on my part. Mr. Edgeworth, please, just give me one day. I'll get to the bottom of what happened, if it's the last thing I do. You'd better get results this time. Really. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Poor Mr. Edgeworth. I don't think there's ever been an error this serious in the history of this court. We will grant one further day as the prosecution has requested. Will this be sufficient, Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. Whatever your punishment for this, for your sake, I hope it's not decisive. Very well, court is adjourned. Yikes. Wow, that was a short one. That was a nice little breezy, easy peasy. I guess we're going back into the investigations next time, which means into scientific investigations, probably, with more moving around and such. I do remember some crazy touchscreen shenanigans for scientific investigations, so stay tuned for that. And maybe we'll get to jump into the evidence room of the police department and see what's going on in there. Because if Detective Goodman died there, who was our victim? Strange. There's only one way to find out, though. Tune in next time. Talk to you guys then.